Okay, welcome back to the show. It's Ken Dunn, and you're here on Books with Ken. And today I'm really excited to have not only a prolific international best-selling author, but a personal mentor on the show. I'm joined by Nick Boothman from Kendall, Ontario, Canada. Hi, Nick.
Ken, how are you? Hello.
I'm doing great. It's a real pleasure to have you here today. Let me start off by telling my viewers. Nick Boothman is a world-renowned author. He is the author of 5 best-selling books. Now the term best-selling is overused and it's actually abused today. Anybody can pay to have a book ranked on Amazon, and then they run around yelling and screaming that they're a bestseller. Well, let me tell you what bestseller means to Nick Boothman's books. He's been a workman author for more than a decade, and what that means alone speaks volumes in the book business. Workman is considered to be one of the top nonfiction publishers in the world. His runaway first book, How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less, on its own merits has sold well over 1 million copies in well over 30 countries around the world. It's been translated into 27 countries, and it's sat atop the best-selling lists in several countries. He's got another book that, in addition to that, a separate book. Nick, I think this was the business book, if memory serves me correctly, in France?
I wrote How to Connect in Business in 90 Seconds or Less. And it was a big success, but for some strange reason we couldn't figure out, it ended up on the top 10 nonfiction, in top 5 nonfiction books in all of France for over 10 months in the top 5, but with a different title. They changed the title to Convince Them in 90 seconds, in less than 2 minutes.
Right.
And because of that, nobody knows why, it became the number 2 medical book, the number 4 sports book, and the number 1 couples book. So we changed the title here. Now it's called Convince Them in 90 Seconds or Less. Same book with an extra chapter.
So, friends, the point I was making is that in this case, Nick Boothman is truly an international best-selling author, and he has blessed millions of people's lives, both with the writings on relationship building and also his professional speaking career. But we're going to go off on a tangent here today, it feels like, Nick. We're going to talk about a new book that you've published called Write a Saleable Book. I know you've got a copy of it right there. Just hold it for a second so everybody can see it.
Oh, selling.
Yes, sir. And this is a little bit of a departure from the norm for you. This is a book for people who are interested in writing a nonfiction book. So let's talk about it. What's it all about?
Well, just to add on what you said, this is a book for not a book for hippies. It's a book for people who want to make money from their expertise or leave a legacy. In other words, it's for people who are busy all day doing something really important with their business, but want to be the person who goes to their clients and say, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and by the way, I wrote this. And that's incredible credibility.
Well,
so sorry, go ahead.
No, let's just add on to that, and we'll get back to this. It's so relevant, Nick. The New York Times last year published research that they had done where it's part of their Getting the New Year Started. They surveyed over 10,000 Americans, and they asked, have you any interest in writing a book? 70% of them responded that they wanted to, and the vast majority of them were people who had accumulated creds in their life, credibility, and they really felt that they had value they wanted to add to other people. So it's timely too. But what is the book about?
It's about, look, I am a non-writer. I was a former fashion photographer, and because I felt, who became a speaker, and because my speaking career wasn't going anywhere, I thought, you know what, I think I need a book. Because when you have a book, people really take you seriously. So I thought, well, I don't know how to write one, but that's never stopped me doing anything before. So I rolled up my sleeves and wrote a book that became a bestseller. I learned a lot along the way. My first book, wrote another book which became a bestseller, learned a lot more along the way, and a third one. And then people would say to me, Nick, how do you do that? Why is it that I've written books and they've gone nowhere, or my friends written books and they've gone nowhere? I got enough people ask me that question. And it came to a head one day when I was approached by a national writers group saying, would I do a masterclass for them? So I said, sure, but actually forgot about it. And only about 2 weeks away, they phoned me and said, "Are you ready for the masterclass?" I thought, "Oh my gosh!" So I thought, well, I better make a workbook. So I sat down and thought, okay, what can I do for a workbook? And then suddenly occurred to me, why don't I write a book instead of making a workbook? So over 11 days, in 33 hours, because I measured it, I wrote the first draft of this book, How to Write a Saleable Book. It was about half the size of this. It was 96 pages. But it was a book from beginning to end. And put it out there. And it shows you, if you're a non-writer, it shows you how to... Because the thing is, people say they want to write a book. First of all, I like to direct this to people who have to write a book. Wanting to write a book's not enough. I have to write a book. But it's to people who say, but I don't know how to write. I don't have time, but one day I'll write it. Well, this is, you sit down today, whatever the day it is, and if you follow this book, if you follow it hard, within 10 days, you will have the first draft of your book. Then you can set it aside. Because the problem is most people either say they want to write a book and never write the book, or they start the book and then they spend the next 4 years polishing paragraph 3 of the first half of the first chapter, and they never go any further. This book takes you from beginning to end, and it's just chunk the book out.
Okay, so let me stop you there, Nick. I want to make sure you just didn't overwhelm the thousands of people that watch my blog. In 10 days, they're going to finish a book. That makes me feel like they're going to be abandoning their lives for 2 weeks and writing from dawn till dusk. What does that mean?
Maybe 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day. Well, look, it's called How to Write a Saleable Book in 10-minute bursts of madness. So you get your ideas together. There's a framework in there. Then you spend 10 minutes. The only rule is that your pen can't stop moving for 10 minutes. Let's say you have a chapter. This deals with 10 chapters. First chapter is an emotional introduction, which all good books must have to get the reader involved. The last chapter is an emotional close. So there's 8 chapters in the middle. It's like stepping stones going across a river. On the first stepping stone, this is what you do. We make some simple little boxes. Here's what the chapter's about. This is the question that we assume you have some expertise, okay?
Right.
This is what the chapter's about. This is the question it answers in 3 parts. Headline 1, headline 2, headline 3. Each of these headlines is divided into 3 subheads. So let's say it's about moving to a new town. Fine. Then transportation might be an interesting headline. So here are the 3 subheadings for transportation. In a hurry, to get to the shops, and in an emergency. That's one section, and we do the other 2 the same way. Then in 10 minutes, you write the first section. You do your research or whatever you do. I've arrived in a new town and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Boom, done. Next one, done. Next one, done. You've just finished the bare bones of a chapter. You've just framed in your house. You've built a room and framed it in. Sure, you got to paint it and put some furniture and a bit of carpet in. That you can do later. And we do it all the way through the book. You can do a chapter a day in maybe an hour of scribbling when you're on the loo, when you're having a coffee, whatever you do. That's basically how I did it. And you know what? The moment it starts, something inside you catches fire. And then you become completely, time goes nowhere.
Right.
You wake up in the middle of the night, you're obsessed. You pop the top off your explosive bottle of whatever, or as I like to say, you found the shish in your kebab, and you can start writing. It just happens that way. We have insiders. Look, and it's a simple book. I'm a simple guy, and it's easy. It's written in a very, very friendly, simple voice, using all the tricks I discovered along the way. Phenomenal tricks. For example, if you don't have a killer title, forget it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a title with a benefit in the title, your book will never sell ever unless you're famous.
Well, so let's talk about this for a second, because we've had other conversations offline where we've talked about the quality of books and the quality of writing in today's world. And we're finding that every year hundreds of thousands of pieces of garbage are making it into the market. And these are books that, most often they're these nonfiction books where people have gotten a cut on their wrist at some point, and now they feel that they've got some masterful story to tell the world. What you're teaching people is different. And this is, I think, one of the biggest reasons that I got excited about your book. First of all, it's how you did it. So you've got you've got 5 books that have sold millions of copies, and every month
Still sell.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Every month, tens of thousands of copies are still being printed by your publisher. This is happening regularly.
I think, one client just bought 4,700 copies, and then the very next, in one go.
Yeah, and that book
bought 10,000.
Right, but those books are books that you published years ago. That first came to market years ago. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing I want to make sure that they understand is this is how you're teaching people how you write your books, number one. But I guess the second thing that this is really a roadmap. It's more than a book. It's something that it's a roadmap that somebody can take, and by the time they finish writing their book, reading your book, their book is going to be written.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I never write how-to books. I don't tell. I show, and all through the book, it's just true stories and little stories. This is what so and so did, and this is what happened next, and this is what did. Now go do this. Now go do that. It doesn't leave very much to figure out. I mean, it's all there, but it's simple. There's nothing complicated about writing a really good self-help book. It's no more complicated than writing a really bad one.
Right.
And the trouble is, I've read enough reviews in magazines and on blogs to say these days there are a lot of really badly written books by not particularly attractive people out there. And people, you're right. People lie. They say their book's a bestseller. Well, it hit a category, a small category on Amazon
for 5 minutes.
It doesn't even go that far. It's when all their mates buy a book. Poink. The up goes the thing.
Yeah, they take a screenshot of it.
Get a screenshot, and there's my proof. That's in a subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory. And then the rest are under the bed.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, tell me what does so we know that there's this massive market of people that want to write books that you're trying to help, but what does somebody need to have ready before they buy your book?
They need to have some expertise. Look, essentially, as a self-help author, you have to know in your mind that you are the world's biggest expert on your topic. This is really important, even if it's in your own mind at the beginning. I went up against Dale Carnegie. I mean, it was a massive, massive book he wrote. So I had to figure out, and I did it from my heart, first of all. I've been a fashion photographer for 25 years and a father of a lot of children. And along the way, I'd met a lot of people with a lot of potential and no people skills. So I thought, I'm going to do something about it. So that was the shish in my kebab. This is the point of my work. How can I help people get some people skills very quickly? So for people who are going to write a book, this has to be something you really care about. As I said before, I didn't want to write a book. I had to write a book. That's what's in you. That's what, immigrants don't want to come to Canada. They have to come to Canada. It's that kind of thing. And once you have that in you, whether it's building kitchen cabinets and you have a new way of doing it, or you've seen people make so many mistakes, you think, you know what, I'm going to help some people out. Mm-hmm. That's to be the big word of warning I will give you. Do not think that you're going to write a book because you want to be a famous author or you want to be a famous speaker. No speaker I know, no author I know ever came at it from that angle.
Right.
It came from the other way. This is something in me that I have to do whether I get paid or not. Sure, if it works, fine, and it will work. This will help you make it work because this aims at real quality from real human connections. So that my authors must make a human-to-human connection. And it is in us, and once we pop the top of people's heads, and out comes all the bubbly, sparkly champagne stuff. Then you can be yourself. And then the point of making this writing in 10-minute bursts of madness, where your pen keeps moving, is that within the very first of those 10-minute bursts, you find your voice. Because of the fact you can't stop writing, there's such a resistance from your subconscious saying, "Oh, stop! You can't say that. It's not rational." Bang! Get out of the way, and suddenly your voice comes out. And when your voice comes out on the paper, it is you, it's pretty, it's lovely, and people enjoy it.
So essentially, this book is for everybody that knows that they need a book for their business, knows that they need a book in their lives. They know that they've amassed the creds, as you call it, the expertise, that they really do have something to share, but they haven't a clue where to start. They just have to have that desire and that credibility, that expertise in their area, the book will do the rest.
You have to be passionate about your topic. There's no other way, otherwise you'll never finish it. But when you're passionate about your topic, even if you're not the biggest expert in the world, today it is so easy to become a real expert using Google, talking to people, following your passion. And it's a trail. You start going down that trail. The more you learn, the more you want to learn. It's about discovering and devouring everything you can about something until people do actually come to you and say, hey, you know what? You know a lot about this, blah, blah, blah. I say, yeah, okay, da-da-dum. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. And you have expertise and you write about your expertise. You're brilliant at certain things, and I've read your books and they're brilliant, and they're the essence of what other people need to learn. And that's what, but we all have it in us.
Right.
There's something, whether I'm a skateboarder and I'm 14 years old, I would know a heck of a lot about balance, about risk, about danger, about how to do it and how not to do it, about how I've seen people get hurt and how I've seen people succeed. Fine. Chapter 1, this is a fantastic fun. Chapter 2, safety first. Let's start there. There's your chapter right there.
I always end these shows with a final thought from the author, but you just gave it. It's passion. If somebody is going to succeed with their expertise or translate that into a book, it's not going to work unless they're truly passionate about their subject.
Yeah, I'm crazy about it.
Nick, what are those final words of advice that you want to give? Obviously, we want everybody to buy this book if they have any fleeting interest in writing one themselves. But what other thoughts do you want to share with people as we wrap up?
You are a great example. I mean, we've known each other for a fair while. If you want something in this life, take it. Go and get it. I wanted to, everything in my life I've ever wanted. I didn't have nothing to stop me. Just go and get it. Just go take it. Stand up today. Say, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to judge nothing for a week. I'm just going to go and do it. So if you want to write a book, go buy this book. Listen, crying out loud, it doesn't cost much money. And I wish it was around when I was around. Buy the book. Do what's in it. It works. You can write a book. And you know something? This I will tell you. I will absolutely guarantee you. When you write and publish a book, your life is changed forever. People perceive you differently.
My name is Ken Dunn. This is Books with Ken. I've been on the show today with Nicholas Boothman, a prolific, real international best-selling author. He's got books in 30 languages and 30 countries. And today we've been talking about Write a Saleable Book. It's been great having you on the show, Nick. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ken. Wonderful.
And to all my friends that tune into these episodes, if you have an interest in picking up Nick's book, as always, we've got a link to the book in the notes below the video, and we look forward to seeing you here next time on our next episode of Books with Ken. Thanks for joining us.